yesterday, during his weekly appearance on the Pat McAfee Show, Rodgers addressed all the speculation that he may want out of Green Bay after Sunday's devastating loss to the Buccaneers. Here is what he said.
I don't think that there's any reason why I wouldn't be back, but there's not many absolutes, as you guys know, in this business. To make an absolute statement about something is not an absolute. I didn't do it, and I guess that's why I went kind of nuts. I think naturally there's times where you let your mind go to maybe, well, I'm going to be a Packer for life, or I'm going to be like a Tim Duncan or a Jeter or a Kobe and play with one team my entire career. I think naturally you dream about that. I mean, that's kind of like a dream scenario, and I've talked about that for much of my career. I think, when they drafted Jordan, it was more just like the reality kicking in going, hey, that's actually never the case. There are no absolutes in this business. And I think it's a beautiful thing to sit with and to wrap your head around. And I did. And I got to a beautiful place about it. Doesn't mean that that's not still a reality. I think that's the only reality, is that there is no absolutes in this business. I just reiterated that after the game, and I get it. Some people are like, well, you just threw 48 touchdowns and probably going to win MVP. Yeah, I understand that. But again, there's no absolutes in this business. So I gave a real answer in the moment.
Boy, there is a lot to unpack. Look, RC, your face right now speaks for us all. What did you take away from that?
Man, my little niece, when she would try to tell me she was confused, she would be like, Uncle Ryan, I'm confusion. And that's what I am. I'm confusion right now. Just now, Aaron Rodgers was every Lawrence Fishburne character you could think of. He was Morpheus. He was Furious Styles talking to Trey. He gave us so much in our head that he confused himself. And then he went from that into Christina Aguilera. You are beautiful. And he continued to say everything was beautiful. You know what we haven't talked about, maybe since Monday morning of the game? We haven't talked about the fact that he's been to 5 NFC championships and he's lost 4. All we've talked about is the things that Aaron Rodgers has said. And Aaron Rodgers was setting this up, right, with the beautiful mystery before this situation, before losing the game, before being asked about his future. Aaron Rodgers had that on his heart. You know how it is. You know how they have those memes. It goes nobody, and then Aaron Rodgers, ... quotation marks. And he went on this large rant so he can kind of now tell you what I've been feeling all year. Yeah, when you drafted Jordan, I was pissed off. And so I became the good teammate. I became the good leader. I was the MVP, but I'm still upset. And right now, since we've gotten through the season and things aren't going well right now, I get to say that. It's like things going good for a lot of times, and I have to say good things, but guess what? We lost now. I can talk about how I feel. I can talk about not wanting to be there. I can talk about feelings of being replaced. But the bottom line is, he knows it. We knew it on Monday. We just had to talk about it because that's what this show is about. Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Green Bay Packer. Period.
Maybe I am giving him too much credit, but Aaron Rodgers is a very smart man. He's a Jeopardy champ. I hear it from everyone who talked to him. So this was not a mistake. This was not just emotional because, like you mentioned, Ryan, the week prior he brought it up. No one was talking about it. He's like, hey, beautiful mystery. And then this week he's like, who knows what the future's going to hold? He did it for a reason. And he knew that we were going to go all crazy because we went crazy last time he said it. But I think that he must be talking to either the fans or he's talking to the front office. More likely he's talking to the front office and saying, you know what you're not going to do? You're not going to draft a quarterback and a running back with the first pick. I'm going to let you know that I have more power than you're saying I do or the way that you treat me. Because he's done that nice guy stuff and they went and got his replacement and then got him a running back when they could have used an O-lineman or a receiver this over the weekend or another cornerback. And so this coming draft, it'll be really interesting to see what they do because I think that's what the message is for. He's a smart, calculated person. He didn't put that out there just for no reason. He knew this was the last big stage he had, and he wanted to send a message to the whole organization that I'm not just going to sit around here and let you push me around and let you draft other people and kind of hold me on some year-to-year basis like I'm a nobody. He's an MVP, one of the greatest we've ever seen, and he's going to let y'all know that I will walk if y'all mess around one more time.
I think that's right. And look, I mean, the reason we keep showing you that video of Jordan Love being drafted is that's the last time anyone has seen him. So, I mean, we don't have anything else that we can show you. So, Dan Graziano, I mean, I'm sure you're talking to people around the league. It's not just the media talking about this. What are people saying?
Yeah, look, we talked about this yesterday. The Packers have no incentive to move on from Aaron Rodgers this offseason. It would actually make their lives very difficult financially and against the shrinking salary cap. And if Aaron Rodgers wanted to make a stink and force his way out of there, then we're having a different conversation. But so far, that's not the case. What he's saying is basically what's going through his head since last April, which is, hey, I thought I'd be a Packer for life. Now I know I might not be. That's weird. It's got me a little unsettled. They go through this wonderful season where nothing goes wrong and it's not an issue, and then the season ends and all of a sudden he's confronting it again. I feel like a lot of the time that Aaron Rodgers talks publicly, the underlying premise that he's using is that he's smarter than everyone else. And I'm sure that's true in some cases, but I promise him it's not true in all cases. And I think if he's trying to send a message, it is, hey, guys, if I'm not here, it wasn't me, right? The organization made a choice. I want to be a Packer for life. And if it ends, it wasn't my idea.
But it's true. I mean, in that case, what he's saying is actually true. They've made the decision to move on from him. Now it's just a question of the timing. And what I have a tough time picturing, and we'll talk about this as we continue, is Aaron just sitting back and saying, whatever you guys decide on that will be fine with me. You want to keep me one more year? If I play great, if Jordan develops well, then you'll make the decision. I don't see that being the way he approaches this. So this feels to me like it is very much worth keeping an eye on, and we'll continue to talk about it. But right now it's time to start talking about the Super Bowl, because Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes is as good as it gets. This will be the 5th time they meet each other. The first meeting was in 2018. Patriots had a big lead. Chiefs came back to tie it. Steven Gostkowski kicked a field goal to win it at the end. Brady and Mahomes threw for 692 yards. They would meet again in the AFC Championship that year. You remember that game. An incredible fourth quarter, 5 touchdowns, huge penalty, Chiefs field goal to overtime, and then Brady with a touchdown to win it in the OT. In 2019, they played each other again. Mahomes, his first win over Brady, it was 23-16. Brady had a chance to tie it on a 4th and goal, but the ball got batted down. That sealed that game. And then early this season, they met. Mahomes threw for 462 yards, 269 of them going to Tyreek Hill. They had a big lead. Tampa came back. It wound up being 27-24 Kansas City. Meanwhile, did you hear what Jeff Saturday said yesterday here? Listen to this.
The dumbest thing people could say. The future GOAT? What does that even freaking mean? The future GOAT. You're either the GOAT or you're not the GOAT. Tom Brady is going to go play in his 10th Super Bowl, and to cast it away because you have a young kid who's playing lights out, it's just disrespectful. That has nothing to do with Patrick Mahomes, but you ain't the GOAT, bro. I can't stand him. You can say he's a great quarterback, best in the game right now. Don't talk about the GOAT nonsense until we get there.
That was Jeff yesterday. Dominique, what do you think?
I mean, he was fired up. Everybody knows how much I love Jeff Saturday, but he's dead wrong right there. Like, we got to fill these hours with something. What else are we going to talk about? I'm happy to compare Patrick Mahomes to any of his peers. You name me. You name him. Show me his opponent. He's not out there. We have to compare him to ghosts because what he is doing right now is unbelievable. We've never seen it before. I'm not going to compare him to Deshaun Watson, as great as he is. Not going to compare him to Lamar Jackson. He's not in the same conversation as Josh Allen. The only person that I can think of that he's in the conversation with is Tom Brady, and he's much better than Tom Brady was at this point in his career. And when Tom Brady was 3 years in as a starter, there's no conversation. So I understand why you might be annoyed, and future GOAT is kind of a silly moniker. But what else we going to call him? God? Because that's how he's playing when he goes out there on the field.
That's very well said. And look, normally I get it when people say, hey, pump the brakes, you're overstating it. But Ryan Clark, in the case of Patrick Mahomes, I don't think we are. I think it is reasonable to look at him and say, this guy looks like he has a chance to be the greatest of all time. I don't think it's actually overstating the case in this guy.
Listen, 100%. And it's also not just because of our eyes, right? Usually at this stage of their career, we're using our eyes and being like, this dude could be one of the all-time greats. And that is true. When you watch him, he's one of the best we've ever seen. You put him up there with Aaron Rodgers, and then it's Patrick Mahomes from the way that he plays the position. But then you look at the team. The dude has had no maturation process. There hasn't been a wait and see kind of thing with Patrick Mahomes. The first time we saw him replacing Alex Smith in the last game, he balled. The next year, he won the MVP, got to the AFC Championship. Next year, got to the Super Bowl, won the MVP. This year, got to the Super Bowl again. Like, all we've seen this dude do is succeed. And to be honest, Jeff's just mad because now we could just overpass Peyton Manning because Peyton Manning's no longer in this conversation.
Ooh.
And those were the hands that he felt pressed against him his whole life. So I understand that. But when you look at Patrick Mahomes, you can honestly say, you know what? Patrick Mahomes doesn't have to win 6. He doesn't have to go to 10. He doesn't have to play for 2+ decades because we know when we look at him, he's better than Tom Brady actually ever was. Even when Tom Brady threw 50 to Randy Moss, we didn't go, gosh, this is the best we've ever seen one look. But it was up there. He's the GOAT because of consistency and the constant excellence. If Patrick Mahomes wins